As a prostate doctor, I'm begging seniors, stop doing this before bed. A simple bedtime habit could be impacting your prostate health. Discover what you should stop doing tonight to protect your well-being. The final advice could make all the difference. Evening rituals. We commence our exploration by acknowledging the profound significance of our evening rituals, those patterns of behavior we engage in as the day winds down, and we prepare our bodies and minds for the sacred period of rest and regeneration that is sleep. These transitional moments, from the activity of day to the stillness of night, are far more influential on our physiological processes, including the health of specific organs like the prostate, than many of us consciously realize. For seniors, whose bodies may already be navigating the natural changes associated with aging, establishing evening routines that actively support well-being, rather than inadvertently undermine it, becomes even more crucial. The prostate gland, a small yet pivotal organ in male health, is particularly sensitive to various systemic influences, including fluid balance, nervous system state, and inflammatory conditions. What we do in the hours leading up to sleep can directly impact these factors, thereby affecting prostate function and the common symptoms associated with benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, such as nocturia, the bothersome need to awaken multiple times during the night to urinate. This single symptom, so prevalent among older men, can drastically fragment sleep, leading to daytime fatigue, cognitive impairment, and a reduced overall quality of life. While BPH itself has multiple contributing factors, including hormonal shifts and chronic inflammation, our daily habits, especially those clustered around bedtime, can either exacerbate its manifestations or help to create an internal environment that mitigates them. Many seniors, perhaps unknowingly, engage in pre-sleep practices that place an undue burden on their urinary system and consequently on their prostate and bladder. They may not connect these habits directly to their nighttime woes, attributing everything solely to an aging prostate as an inevitable fate. However, ancient wisdom, corroborated by modern physiological understanding, teaches us that we possess a considerable degree of agency in influencing our body's functions through conscious, mindful choices. The plea I extend today, as someone who has observed the patterns and struggles of many, is rooted in the understanding that a significant measure of relief and improved prostate comfort can often be found not in complex interventions, but in the simple, intelligent modification of these everyday evening rituals. It requires a willingness to examine our habits with honesty, to understand their subtle yet powerful repercussions, and to make gentle but firm adjustments that align with the body's natural rhythms and its inherent capacity for balance. The goal is to transform the hours before sleep into a period of true preparation for rest, a time when we consciously support our body's need for tranquility and minimize any factors that might disrupt its delicate equilibrium, particularly in relation to urinary and prostate health. This awareness is the first step towards calmer nights and more energized days. Fluid overload. Let us now focus on one of the most direct and impactful pre-bedtime habits that I earnestly implore seniors to reconsider. A practice that almost guarantees nighttime urinary disruption and places unnecessary stress on the prostate and bladder: the consumption of large volumes of fluids of any kind in the late evening, especially within the 1 to 2 hours immediately preceding sleep. While maintaining adequate hydration throughout the day is absolutely essential for overall health and kidney function, the timing of this fluid intake becomes critically important as we age and as conditions like BPH may make the urinary system more sensitive. The body naturally processes fluids and produces urine continuously, but the rate and volume can be significantly influenced by how much we drink and when. When a substantial amount of liquid is ingested close to bedtime, the kidneys will inevitably continue their work of filtering that fluid and producing urine while the individual is attempting to sleep. For a senior man, particularly one with an already enlarged prostate that may be partially obstructing urine flow from the bladder, or a bladder that has become less elastic or more irritable with age, this increased nighttime urine production is a recipe for frequent awakenings. The bladder fills more quickly, and the sensation of needing to void becomes more pressing and frequent, compelling multiple trips to the bathroom, thereby shattering the continuity of restorative sleep. Many seniors may do this unthinkingly. Perhaps it's a large glass of water taken with evening medications, a customary cup of tea, or other warm beverage enjoyed while relaxing before bed, or even indulging in fluid-rich snacks like certain fruits late at night. While the intention might be good, to stay hydrated or to enjoy a comforting ritual, the consequence for a sensitive urinary system is often severe sleep disruption. It's not just the volume, but also the type of fluid that can matter. Caffeinated beverages like coffee, black or green tea, and some sodas, even if consumed earlier in the evening, can have a lingering diuretic effect for several hours, stimulating increased urine production well into the night. Alcoholic beverages, too, are diuretics and can exacerbate nighttime urination. Even seemingly innocuous drinks, if consumed in large quantities before bed, will contribute to bladder filling. The plea to stop doing this is a plea to become acutely conscious of this fluid intake pattern. This does not mean dehydrating oneself. The key is to shift the majority of fluid consumption to earlier in the day, drinking ample amounts throughout the morning and afternoon, and then significantly tapering off in the evening, perhaps ceasing all significant fluid intake about 2 hours before intending to sleep. Small sips, if needed for dry mouth or with medication, are generally acceptable, but gulping down large glasses of water or other beverages is precisely what needs to be avoided. This simple adjustment can have a remarkably profound impact on reducing nocturia. It allows the bladder to be relatively empty at the start of the sleep period, giving it and the prostate a much-needed period of rest rather than being constantly challenged by incoming fluid loads. This isn't about restriction in a negative sense, but about intelligent timing, working in harmony with the body's natural cycles to promote uninterrupted healing sleep and relieve unnecessary pressure on the aging urinary system. Stimulant timing. Beyond the sheer volume of fluids, another critical aspect of evening rituals that can significantly impact prostate health and nighttime urinary symptoms, particularly in seniors, is the timing and consumption of stimulants, most notably caffeine, and, to a lesser extent, substances like nicotine or even certain stimulating herbal preparations. I implore seniors to be exceptionally mindful of this, as these substances can act as subtle yet potent saboteurs of peaceful sleep and bladder calm. Caffeine, the world's most widely consumed psychoactive drug, is found not only in coffee, but also in various teas, black, green, oolong, many soft drinks, chocolate, and even some over-the-counter medications for pain relief or colds. While a morning cup of coffee may be a cherished ritual for many, consuming caffeine too late in the day can have lingering effects that extend well into the night, especially as caffeine metabolism can slow with age, meaning it stays in the system longer. Caffeine is a known bladder irritant and a diuretic. As an irritant, it can increase bladder sensitivity and urgency, making one feel the need to urinate even when the bladder is not particularly full. As a diuretic, it promotes increased urine production by the kidneys. The combination of these effects when caffeine is still active in the system at bedtime directly contributes to nocturia and can exacerbate the discomfort associated with an enlarged prostate. A man with BPH already has a potentially compromised urine flow. Adding a bladder irritant and a diuretic to the mix in the evening is like pouring fuel on a fire. Many seniors may not realize how late in the day their cutoff time for caffeine should be. Even a cup of tea consumed in the late afternoon or early evening can be enough to disrupt sleep patterns and stimulate nighttime urination for a sensitive individual. The plea is to become a detective of one's own caffeine intake, to read labels, and to consciously shift all caffeinated beverage consumption to the earlier parts of the day, preferably before noon or, at the very latest, early afternoon. Switching to decaffeinated versions of coffee or tea in the evening, or opting for naturally caffeine-free herbal infusions like chamomile, peppermint, or rooibos can make a significant difference. Similarly, nicotine, whether from smoking or other forms of tobacco use, is a powerful stimulant that can interfere with sleep architecture and also act as a bladder irritant for some. Avoiding nicotine entirely is, of course, the ideal for overall health, but certainly refraining from its use for several hours before bedtime is crucial if sleep quality and bladder health are priorities. Even some seemingly innocuous health supplements or herbal remedies might contain stimulating ingredients that are best avoided in the evening. The underlying principle is to create an internal environment that is calm and conducive to rest as bedtime approaches. Introducing stimulants into the system late in the day works directly against this goal, agitating the nervous system, potentially irritating the bladder, and increasing the likelihood of fragmented sleep due to urinary urgency. Making a conscious decision to create a stimulant-free window of several hours before sleep is a profound act of self-care that can yield significant benefits for prostate comfort and overall nocturnal peace. Dietary triggers. Our exploration now extends to another crucial pre-bedtime consideration that many seniors may overlook, yet which can profoundly influence prostate health and nighttime urinary symptoms: the consumption of certain foods in the evening that can act as dietary triggers, irritating the bladder, promoting inflammation, or otherwise exacerbating the discomforts associated with an enlarged prostate. While individual sensitivities can vary, there are several common culprits that, when eaten close to bedtime, can make for a very long and restless night. Spicy foods are a well-known potential bladder irritant for many individuals. Capsaicin, the compound that gives chili peppers their heat, and other pungent spices can stimulate nerve endings in the bladder, leading to increased sensations of urgency and frequency. Enjoying a fiery curry or a heavily spiced dish for dinner might seem appealing, but if it's followed by multiple nighttime bathroom trips, the spice may be a contributing factor. For seniors whose bladders may already be more sensitive due to age or BPH, avoiding very spicy foods, particularly in the evening meal, can often bring noticeable relief. Acidic foods can also pose a problem for some. Tomatoes and tomato-based products like pasta sauce or ketchup, citrus fruits, oranges, grapefruits, lemons, limes, and even some vinegars, while healthy in many respects, can be irritating to the urinary tract lining for susceptible individuals when consumed in large quantities or too close to bedtime. This irritation can manifest as increased urinary frequency or a sensation of bladder discomfort. While these foods don't need to be eliminated from the diet entirely for most, being mindful of their consumption in the evening can be a wise strategy if nocturia is an issue. Processed foods, often high in artificial additives, preservatives, excessive salt, and unhealthy fats, can contribute to systemic inflammation, which can indirectly worsen BPH symptoms. Furthermore, very heavy, rich or fatty meals consumed late in the evening can be difficult to digest, potentially leading to discomfort that can disrupt sleep and might even place pressure on the bladder. The body's digestive processes naturally slow down at night, and burdening it with a large, complex meal close to bedtime can interfere with the body's ability to shift into a restful state. Even certain otherwise healthy foods, if an individual has a particular sensitivity or intolerance to them, e.g., dairy for those who are lactose intolerant, or gluten for those with celiac disease or non-celiac gluten sensitivity, can cause digestive upset and inflammation that might indirectly impact bladder comfort and sleep. The earnest plea here is for seniors to become attuned to their own bodies, to pay attention to how different foods consumed in the evening affect their nighttime urinary patterns and overall comfort. Keeping a simple food and symptom diary for a week or two can often reveal surprising connections. It's not necessarily about drastic dietary restrictions, but about making intelligent choices for the evening meal, opting for lighter, easily digestible foods, avoiding known personal irritants, and finishing dinner at a reasonable hour, allowing ample time for digestion before retiring to bed. This mindful approach to evening nutrition can significantly reduce bladder irritation and contribute to more peaceful, uninterrupted sleep, which is invaluable for prostate health and overall well-being. Screen time strain. We now shift our focus from direct consumables to a pervasive modern habit that, while not ingested, exerts a profound and often detrimental influence on our pre-sleep state, indirectly impacting hormonal balance, sleep quality, and consequently, factors relevant to prostate health, the pervasive strain of excessive screen time in the hours leading up to bed. In our digitally saturated world, many seniors, like people of all ages, spend their evenings engrossed in televisions, computers, tablets, or smartphones. While these devices can offer entertainment, connection, and information, their overuse, particularly close to bedtime, can significantly disrupt the body's natural preparation for sleep and create a cascade of subtle physiological disturbances. The primary culprit is the blue light emitted by these electronic screens. Exposure to blue light in the evening hours suppresses the production of melatonin, the crucial hormone that regulates our sleep-wake cycles. Melatonin signals to the body that it is time to wind down and prepare for sleep. When its production is inhibited by evening blue light exposure, it becomes more difficult to fall asleep, sleep quality can be impaired, and the overall architecture of sleep can be disrupted. This is highly relevant to prostate health and nighttime urinary symptoms for several reasons. Firstly, poor or fragmented sleep itself can exacerbate BPH symptoms. When sleep is not deep and restorative, the body is less able to manage inflammation and hormonal balance effectively. Fatigue can also make one more sensitive to bladder sensations. Secondly, melatonin itself is a powerful antioxidant and has been found to have anti-inflammatory properties. There is even some research suggesting that melatonin may play a role in regulating prostate growth and function, with lower melatonin levels sometimes being associated with an increased risk of prostate issues. Therefore, any habit that consistently suppresses melatonin production, such as late-night screen use, could potentially have a negative impact on the prostate's cellular environment over the long term. Beyond the blue light effect, the content consumed on screens in the evening can also be problematic. Engaging with stimulating, emotionally charged or anxiety-provoking content like news, suspenseful dramas, or work-related emails can activate the sympathetic nervous system, our fight-or-flight response, making it difficult for the mind and body to transition into a calm, parasympathetic state conducive to sleep. This heightened state of alertness can further delay sleep onset and contribute to a restless night. For seniors striving for better prostate health and fewer nighttime disruptions, I earnestly plead for a conscious uncoupling from screens for at least 1 to 2 hours before the intended bedtime. This digital sunset allows melatonin levels to rise naturally, signals to the brain that it's time to prepare for rest, and helps to calm the nervous system. Instead of screen time, engaging in relaxing, non-stimulating activities such as reading a physical book under dim, warm light, listening to calming music, gentle stretching or meditation, engaging in quiet conversation, or taking a warm bath can create a much more supportive pre-sleep environment. This mindful disengagement from the digital world is not just about better sleep. It's about honoring the body's natural rhythms and creating the optimal internal conditions for hormonal balance, reduced inflammation, and overall well-being, all of which indirectly support a healthier prostate and more peaceful nights. Stressful engagement. Our final and perhaps most encompassing plea to seniors concerns a pervasive pre-bedtime habit that can profoundly undermine not only prostate health and sleep quality, but overall well-being. Engaging in stressful or emotionally activating activities, conversations, or thoughts in the precious hours leading up to sleep. The transition into night should be a period of winding down, of letting go of the day's concerns, and of gently preparing the mind and body for the deep restoration that sleep provides. However, many individuals, often unknowingly, carry the stresses and agitations of their day right into their bedrooms, or even actively engage in activities that stir up new anxieties just before trying to rest. This can manifest in various ways. It might be having heated discussions or arguments with family members in the evening. It could involve dwelling on worries about finances, health, or future events, allowing the mind to race with anxious thoughts and worst-case scenarios. It might be watching or reading distressing news reports that evoke fear or anger. For some, it could even be engaging in overly stimulating work-related tasks or problem-solving late into the night, keeping the brain in a high-alert analytical mode. When the mind is in such a state of agitation or stress, the body mirrors this by remaining in a state of sympathetic nervous system dominance. Cortisol and adrenaline levels may remain elevated, heart rate and blood pressure can increase, and muscle tension can persist. This physiological state is diametrically opposed to the conditions required for restful sleep and physical healing. For a senior man dealing with an enlarged prostate, this heightened stress state can exacerbate symptoms in several ways. Stress itself can increase bladder sensitivity and urgency. The physical tension associated with stress can also affect the pelvic floor muscles, potentially contributing to urinary difficulties. Furthermore, the hormonal imbalances driven by chronic stress can negatively influence the prostate's cellular environment over time. Perhaps most significantly, a stressed and agitated mind makes it incredibly difficult to fall asleep and stay asleep. The resulting sleep deprivation then feeds back into the stress cycle and further undermines the body's ability to manage BPH symptoms and maintain overall health. The earnest plea, therefore, is to consciously curate the evening hours as a sanctuary of peace and calm. This means making a deliberate choice to disengage from stressful inputs and to actively cultivate a state of mental and emotional tranquility before bed. This might involve practices such as journaling to release worries onto paper, engaging in gentle mindfulness or meditation to calm the mind, listening to soothing music or guided relaxations, reading spiritually uplifting or comforting material, or simply engaging in quiet, positive conversation with loved ones. It requires setting boundaries around discussions or activities that are known to be stressful, deferring them to the daytime hours. It involves a commitment to letting go of the day's burdens and intentionally shifting focus towards gratitude, peace, and relaxation. This isn't about suppressing emotions, but about choosing the appropriate time and manner for processing them, recognizing that the pre-sleep period is sacred time for restoration. By making a conscious effort to ensure that the last thoughts and activities of the day are calming and positive, seniors can profoundly influence their ability to sleep deeply, reduce the impact of stress on their bodies, and create an internal environment far more conducive to prostate health and overall well-being. This cultivation of evening peace is a gift you give yourself every single night. The hours before sleep are not merely a countdown to rest, they are a sacred preparation, a time when conscious choices can profoundly shape the quality of our night and the vitality of our waking hours. By mindfully adjusting our evening rituals, particularly by managing fluid intake, timing stimulants wisely, choosing calming foods, limiting screen exposure, and cultivating inner peace, we create a powerful foundation for prostate health and overall well-being. It is my deepest hope that you will take these earnest pleas to heart, not as restrictions, but as invitations to a more harmonious way of living, allowing your body, and especially your prostate, the gentle care and respect it deserves, leading to calmer nights and more vibrant, healthful days ahead. This is such important, practical advice, especially the emphasis on fluid overload and stimulant timing before bed. These seem like simple changes that could make a huge difference for many seniors dealing with nocturia. I'm curious, for those who have consciously modified their evening routines for better sleep or prostate health, which specific change, e.g., cutting evening fluids, ditching late-night screens, a calming ritual, did you find had the most immediate and noticeable positive impact on your nights? Sharing those personal successes could be very motivating.